Thank you for clicking on the channel. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, as well as click the thumbs up so this message can reach the masses. So I was intuitively picking up on the fact that in the past or the present or the future, some sort of timeline, you have dealt with toxic femininity. This is for a masculine or a feminine listening to this message. You could have experienced this. So, but I am, focusing on toxic femininity because I just did a message on sisterhood, but I also want to talk about the toxic effects of toxic femininity in within these groups. So this could have actually came about in different forms and experiences in your life. So you could probably have experiences many times on many levels with many layers. So yeah, I do see that you could have experience in the past, even the recent past, or also like in your childhood. And you could actually still be dealing with it today, now, in your current timeline. So I feel like you may even pick up on having some traits of toxic femininity yourself. And that's why it's important to heal because once you recognize those traits, you start working through them and you stop limiting yourself. So I feel like you have been doing that. Um, this is something, yeah, you've been working through it, or you are being advised right now, you're being nudged to focus and work through this toxic femininity. So, some examples of toxic femininity is basically, let me give you an example. So, basically, like if I told you to act like a lady, why you not acting like a lady? Like a real woman don't do this. A real woman don't do that. Basically being told that this is what it is to be required, or this is being told this is what it is to be considered this, to be considered a real woman, or to be considered feminine, etc. So basically a whole bunch of bullshit. And let me tell you, toxic femininity is promoted so much, even right now in the media, on Instagram, on Twitter, Facebook, whatever. It's being mass promoted right now. This stuff has been carried on like from people get it from their mama, they get it from their grandma, like thinking that they are teaching, women to be a certain type of way when all they're doing, they're spreading toxic femininity. They're limiting these women. They're limiting themselves. So I feel like, yeah, like this some toxic ass shit that's just been passed down. Like, in what world? What world is it? Somebody tells you something like that, like, oh, this is the only way you'll be considered a real woman. But yes, unfortunately, this is the world we are in. First of all, so I feel like this could actually be very detrimental to your mental health, your well-being. So basically being forced to think this way could cause you to have like mental health issues, depression, internal misogyny, because you're constantly being told what a real woman is, and you might feel like, oh well, I'm not a real woman because I'm not this, or I don't indulge in that. So that is conflicting in somebody's mind. That can actually make somebody have a psychological break when it's on a certain type of level. So I feel like there is so much of it, like I said, being produced in the mass media, as well as like, oh my god. So it's just really sickening. Okay, it's sick. It's fucking sick. Especially once you are on a certain consciousness and you realize like, oh, it's everywhere. It's on social media, it's at school, it's at work, it's even in romantic, like your lover might tell you some shit like, oh baby, if you don't do this, you're not a real woman. Like what? I know y'all done been with somebody, dealing with somebody, you like, they told me, oh, I'm not a real man, or I'm not a real bitch, like, because I ain't do this for them. Like, what? Even in like regular platonic relationships, like friendships, at home, I was picking up intuitively that you have actually been placed in these certain situations. You've been placed in these certain settings that are deeply rooted in toxic femininity. So you could have actually been judged and shamed for not doing things or liking the same things as a certain group of people, or liking things that are basically like the norm, or you don't do things that's like the norm. So uh, you're not doing things that these other females are doing out here specifically. And either it could be a man or a woman, they could have actually shamed you and actually even said to your face, you aren't real. Or they could be having this image in their head like, oh, she not really real. She not really a real woman. She not a real bitch. Or like you weren't in their eyes considered cool, or you weren't considered like what they wanted you to be because of something you did or something you did not like. So I feel like you could have did something that they wouldn't do normally, and I feel like this shit is like hilarious because honestly, people like that, I take them as a joke, a big fucking joke. Because what toxic femininity is like, it can even be so detrimental to the point that it can become dangerous. Like, so just imagine all the advice and beliefs that people have formed is all deeply rooted in toxic femininity. So people are just have a whole mindset and live and lead a whole life off of this. So there are actual individuals out here who are going about their days like this. And you can actually be an individual who is considered very assertive, very confident, like you stand on what it is you feel, whatever it is you believe. And this could actually be intimidating to some people. Like some people could probably even say like, "Oh, she's selfish, she this, she that." Um, yeah, like you could be actually being singled out by these people who think like this. So remember, these messages are always to bring awareness to you, and they are very important. But yet, this is a taboo topic. You don't hear about this every day. So I feel like they may actually be occurring right now in your reality or someone around you. You could have even over the years been building up like anxiety. You've gone through depression. You've built up anger and aggression around this because you have experienced pressure of toxic femininity. So whoever you are, male or female, listening to this, you have experienced this and you have been greatly affected by it. I'm trying to let you know, like, even if you don't think you have, okay? So make sure you are always reevaluating and knowing where your beliefs come from. Stay independent when it comes to your thinking. Think how you want to think, okay? Think for yourself. You are the only one who knows what you need. You know your own needs, you know your ambitions, you know your goals, you know what it is you're trying to do, what outcome you're trying to get. So always express your opinion, show authority when it comes to, your opinions and how you want things to be done, how you want your results to be shown, and basically show authority to how you want any situation to be formed. So even though you may want to avoid conflict, you could be the type of person you don't want to step on nobody's toes. Right now, you're learning that your decisions are for your well-being, and you're not gonna let nobody else make your decisions for you. So you need to rely on yourself and not the needs of nobody else. So continue to take control, give authority, of course, in a healthy way. Okay.